All right. Hello, everyone who's joined so far. First and foremost, thanks for being here. Can you all see me and hear me? I got the chat pulled up on my phone, so if you can just drop a yes or no in the chat, if you can hear me, see me, um, give us like 2 minutes. A couple more people are going to join, and just want to make sure that everything is coming through clear. Okay, got the video pulled up here too, so I can make sure I'm coming through. And if you give me one more minute, we'll get started. I got a couple people texting me saying they're gonna join. Good. Cool. Colin, appreciate you for joining, my brother. Hope you've had a good weekend so far. Cool. All right, so let's get rolling. First and foremost, thank you all for being here on this Sunday evening. I know you probably have some preparing to do to get ready to have a successful week starting tomorrow. So I just want to say thank you for taking the time to be here with me to learn a little bit about mortgage note investing and the opportunity that it presents. So thanks again. Thanks for taking your time. We are live, so if you have any questions as we go along, feel free to drop them in the chat, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. But that being said, let's get right into it. Before I start with my spiel, I want to get to know my audience a little bit more. So I just want to ask a few questions. For those of you watching, do you have any current investments, whether it's real estate, stocks, crypto, anything that you're currently into right now? Are you currently saving for retirement? Maybe you have a 401k through your job. Maybe you have a self-directed IRA. Do you have any retirement savings that you're building right now? And then what matters most to you in investment opportunity? You know, some people want to make sure that they're taking low risk opportunities. Some people want to maximize their return on investment. Some people say, hey, as long as my money's growing, I don't want to touch it. You know, so what matters most to you when you think about investing? And then finally, how important is passive income to you? Are you someone who sees passive income as a way to maybe get out of your 9 to 5? Do you see passive income as a way to make sure that you're building a savings on the side that you don't have to worry about? How important is passive income to you as an investor? So you can go ahead and drop your answers in the chat. I'll give us a minute to do that, and we'll go from there. Not currently. Okay. Cool. Gotta build up to it. Thank you all for being here again. I really appreciate it. Okay. Cool. So, as the title slide said, we're here to talk about mortgage note investing, but what I'm really here to talk about today is freedom. That's why I got attracted to mortgage note investing. It's all about creating freedom for myself and creating freedom for other people. So a few more questions. What would you do if you could use your time however you saw fit? If you did not have to worry about making money, if all your responsibilities were taken care of, what would you do with your time? Would you travel? Would you learn a new language? How would you spend your time if you knew that you could do whatever you wanted with it? Go ahead and drop those in the chat as well. Colin says, I would love some passive income. Security matters the most. That is important. You know, we want to make sure our money is going forward and not backwards. Okay. And let me know if I'm going a little fast. There is a lag between my live stream and the YouTube, so if I need to slow down or go back, drop it in the chat and I'll pause for a moment. Okay. Beyond this question, what if you knew that you were going to get paid every month to live this life that you enjoy? What if you knew that no matter what, you were going to get paid every month without clocking in for it, without spending your time and energy on it, that you knew you had income coming in? How would that make you feel? All right, would you be relaxed? Would you be excited, you know, happy? How would you feel if you knew you were going to get paid every month? And then from there, what if this wasn't just a what if? Okay, what if I told you that this is not only possible, but a lot closer than you think, a lot more attainable than you think? Um, is that something that would excite you? It excites me personally. That's why I asked the question. All right. Very good. I'm seeing your answers coming into the chat again. YouTube is a little bit behind me, so bear with me here as I get my pacing. All right, Jamari says if he could spend his time however he'd want, he would relax while making money and spending time on his own endeavors. That's what it's all about, right? That's why we talk about freedom, so that we can spend our time and energy doing the things that we want to do, right? Very good. So, in this freedom that we're all looking to attain, passive income is the key. Passive income is the key to a free life, flat out. Okay? When we no longer have to exchange our time for money, which is what we're doing when we go to work, all right? We can pursue our passions. We can spend the time with the people that we love, trying new things, going places we want to go. All right? All of this starts with passive income. All right? And the reason I'm sitting here with you today is because my goal is to help you create that freedom. All right? So a little bit about me. My name is Brian Royster. I am a professional node investor and the founder of Node Genius. What I do is I buy predictable cash flowing assets. These assets are secured by physical real estate and they generate passive monthly cash flow. So these assets are generating this monthly income that is going to allow you to take a step back from your job maybe, or to build up your retirement or build up your savings, right? That's what this is all about, is creating this freedom. But more importantly, I share these opportunities with people like yourselves, right? Personally, I feel like there's no point in me being on a mission to obtain my own freedom if I cannot create those opportunities for others. And that is what my business is all about. That is what my driving force is all about, is that I want to not only achieve this for myself, but help others do the same thing. And so that's why I'm here, okay? So, mortgage note investing is rooted in this statement right here, okay? Be the bank, not the landlord. All right. All of us have probably heard, or we're probably aware, that real estate investing is considered to be the most efficient way to build wealth, right? This has been the case for centuries, for generations, right? If you own property, you're likely going to be wealthy at some point, right? But the reality is that real estate investing comes with a number of headaches that people don't necessarily, well, let's say beginners aren't aware of, and experienced real estate investors can get tired of, right? So whether you're a landlord and you own a property and you have to deal with tenants and filling vacancies, repairing maybe a blown water heater, or a tenant calling you at 2 a.m. to say the toilet's broken, right? That can get pretty exhausting. Maybe you're a wholesaler or a flipper and you have to do a lot of work and put in a lot of effort to get a deal done. And then you got to do it again, right? Because they only pay you one time, right? Each deal pays you once. So real estate investing, while it works and while it's a fantastic way to build wealth, it does come with some unnecessary stresses that we don't necessarily have to deal with. So I wanted to give you a shift in perspective today. How can we earn money like the bank instead of earn money like a landlord? Okay. Now, how do banks make their money? Okay. Banks do not invest in real estate, stocks, mutual funds, crypto, all right? Let me not say they don't do this, but this is not the bread and butter of their business. This is not how they make their money, okay? Banks make their money through lending, okay? They create loans, whether it's personal loans, home loans, car loans. Banks make their money by loaning their money to others and getting interest paid back every month, okay? Now, why is this the foundation of the banking business, right? Well, number one, passive monthly cash flow. Think about it this way. Every loan that a bank creates is a new stream of passive income, okay? That's priority, that's number one, okay? Every loan a bank creates is a new stream of passive income. They give these loans out, people are paying back every month, all right, with interest. That's how they make their money, that's how they earn their profit, okay? The second thing is security through collateral, all right? Particularly when we're talking home loans, mortgage loans, when we're talking car loans, all right? The bank loans this money and says, okay, if you don't pay us back what we've agreed to, we have the right to go and claim this valuable asset to make sure that we get our money back, we recoup our money, right? So banks are okay giving out these loans because they know that in the event that they don't get paid, they have something valuable to secure that money, All right. And the third thing is control over ownership. Like I just said, when we're talking real estate investing, when we're talking property ownership, there are a number of hassles that, quite frankly, if you're talking passive income, you just don't want to deal with. Right? You don't want people calling you to complain about their neighbors. You don't want to have to fix a leaky roof and it digs into your profits, right? So it's better to be able to control the asset than it is to own it, if passive income is your goal. All right. You can kind of boil that all down to this one statement: own the paper, not the property. All right. It's that simple. All right. So let's jump into mortgage note investing. What is mortgage note investing? All right. As we just said, banks lend to aspiring homeowners, right? Someone goes to the bank and say, hey, I have a home I'd like to buy. Here are my documents. Here are my criteria. All right. Will you loan me the money to go buy this home? Okay. So the bank gives them the home loan. They create a mortgage note. All right. This note establishes the terms of the loan. It establishes how much they're going to pay every month, how long they're going to be paying, what the interest rate is. All right. All the terms and conditions. What happens if the loan doesn't get paid back? Okay. So the bank creates this note when they give these loans to homeowners. Now, mortgage loans are typically 15 to 30 year agreements. Okay. So for 15 to 30 years, these people, homeowners, should be paying back these loans. That's a long-term investment, right? And if they don't, their property is used as collateral for the loan. All right, that's what it's all about. That's where the security aspect comes in from. Well, banks give out these loans and they collect monthly payments for a while. And after a while, they say, we want to give out more loans, but we need some more capital to do it. We need some more money so that we can give out more money, maybe at a higher interest rate, right? Maybe under more favorable terms. All right. So what they do is they take these loans, they take these notes that they've created, and they sell them off. All right. And they say, hey, if you'll give us a lump sum of cash now, we'll sell these to you at a discount because we want the cash now. We're not worried about collecting the full value of the interest 20 years down the line. We've already collected on this loan for 5 years, 10 years. We're happy with what we've received, but we want to go give out more loans, right? And that's where an investor like myself comes in and says, okay, well, I'll buy that loan from you, but I'll buy it from you at a discount. So if you have a $100,000 mortgage note, $100,000 loan you're selling, I'll buy it from you for 90. I'll buy it from you for 80, depending on how well it's performing, right? We now take the bank's place as the new lender. So maybe if you've had a mortgage already, or you've had some sort of medical debt or anything like that, you've gotten a letter in the mail that says your payments are now going to so-and-so company, so-and-so LLC, right? That is essentially what we're doing here, except as investors, we are purchasing these loans as individuals, right? But at the end of the day, we become the new lender, and therefore we become the new recipients of these monthly payments, all right? Which results in the passive income that we're all seeking, right? So is that making sense so far? We understand what mortgage note investing is, okay? Again, if I need to pause anywhere or go back, I do have a bit of a delay, so go ahead and drop it in the chat and I will circle back to any questions. All right. But note investing is considered by those who are aware of it to be the best kept secret in real estate investing. All right. Again, we know real estate works. It's worked for a very, very long time, but note investing is one of the only vehicles that has all four of the following elements found in one place, okay? And the first is low risk. As we've said, notes provide security. For each note, there is a physical asset that is tied to the loan, right? So this collateral protects your investment, all right? So if you put up the money for a loan, you have a physical property that is typically worth several times more. I won't say several times more, but it's typically worth significantly more than the loan itself. Okay, so that's where our security comes in. All right. The second thing is predictable income. Okay, when you invest in stocks, crypto, traditional real estate, even, there are a lot of external factors that are out of your control as an investor. Okay, it's dependent on the economy. It's dependent on market swings. You know, there are a lot of things that affect your money. Whereas when you're buying or investing in mortgage loans and mortgage notes, you're working with contractual agreements. So it's already written how much you're going to get paid every month, how long you're going to get paid every month, what the conditions are if your borrower doesn't pay, right? So these are contractual agreements. The terms are already established, which means there's a lot less likelihood of your income being affected by external events. Okay, it doesn't really matter what's going on in the world. You're owed what you're owed, right? So that predictable income takes a lot of stress off of the investor. Okay. The third thing is outsized returns. Okay. Most people who are investing have some sort of steady investment in the stock market, right? And that's cool, but the average stock portfolio is earning, say, 6 to 10%, and you're accounting for inflation. You're earning 6 to 10% on your money, but you're also carrying that risk that we were just talking about. That if something happens in the world, something happens in the economy, your earnings are at risk. Okay, when you're investing in notes and you're looking at these contractual agreements, number one, we're buying at a discount, so we're already buying at less than the value that's actually owed. That creates instant equity, and we'll jump into that in just a second, right? But then you're also looking at larger returns because of the price that we're investing at, right? So you're looking at 8%, 10%, 15, 20. It's not abnormal to come across significantly larger returns when investing in notes, all right? And obviously the security that comes with them. And then the final thing that notes provide that we're all after is, again, that passive cash flow. Okay, no more exchanging time for money. I cannot stress how important this is. Okay, we all have a finite amount of time here on this earth, and it is important that we are able to use it in a way that best serves us. Okay, and if we can go ahead and get some passive cash flow coming in, maybe we use it to supplement our 9 to 5. Maybe we use it to get out of our 9 to 5 altogether. Maybe we use it to build up our retirement accounts in a safer way, right? So that when that time comes to retire, we're not worried about not having enough to take care of us for the rest of our lives, right? So passive cash flow, passive income is key. Okay. So these are the main 4 elements that make note investing the best kept secret in real estate. And now what I want to do is walk us through a case study where we're going to put some numbers to it, right? I'm assuming that the concept is resonating pretty well. If it's not, again, let me know. But we're going to put some numbers to it so you can kind of see what I'm talking about here and see how a note deal works, okay? So here we have a property that's valued at $142,000, okay? The balance on the mortgage is $108,000, all right? There's an 8% interest rate, and there's 15 years remaining on this term, okay? So there's 180 months left, or 180 payments left on this note. The monthly payment on this note is just over $1,000, okay? As I walk through this case study, I'm going to speak in round numbers just for simplicity's sake. You can see the actual numbers on the screen, but I am going to round, so just be aware of that, okay? But the bank offers this note for sale for $89,000. The bank says, we can probably give out a loan at a higher interest rate. We've already collected on this note for several years. We're happy with the return that we've gotten, so we're just going to go ahead and we're going to let this one go, okay? And being the savvy note investor that you are, you say, okay, I'll buy that note from you for $89,000. And right out the gate, you've bought this note at a $19,000 discount, all right? The note balance is $108,000. You've invested $89,000, and your investment is secured by a property that's worth $142,000. Okay, so we're double collateralized by the note and by the property. Okay, all that means is that you've created instant equity. All right, you won right off the bat. You've made money immediately. Right? Sounds good, right? That is not the best part of it, though. Okay, some of you are probably listening to me right now and saying, okay, that sounds good, I get the concept, but how do I know I'm going to get my money back? How do I know that this investment makes sense, right? Which leads me to my next point, which is the 3 possible outcomes, okay? Hear me when I say this. I'm not telling you that note investing is some magical tool, some never lose strategy. Every investment carries risk, all right? I'm going to be very upfront about that. Every investment strategy carries risk. It doesn't matter what it is. What I'm here to tell you, though, is that note investing makes it very hard to lose, and that your outcomes are predictable, which means you can plan for them, okay? There are only 3 possible outcomes to a note investment. Number 1, you pay as agreed. Your borrower pays as agreed, I should say, which means they make regular monthly payments every month, right? They're on it. They know when their payment is due, right? They know what they signed up for, and they're okay with that, and they pay every month, no problem. And at the end of the term, you've collected the full balance of the note, all right, and they're free and clear, All right. The second outcome is early payoff. All right. The borrower refinances, maybe to get another loan at a lower rate, or they sell the property, right? And they use the proceeds of that sale to pay off what they owe you on their mortgage, right? So you get your full return on investment earlier than expected, okay? And then the third outcome is that the borrower defaults on the loan and they fail to pay, and you claim the property as collateral, okay? Life happens. People end up in situations where they can no longer afford their payments, no longer afford the home, and unfortunately, that's just the reality of life sometimes. But we're going to walk through each of these outcomes. We're going to apply them to our example so we can kind of see how the numbers work. And you tell me what you think as we go. All right. So outcome number one, the borrower pays as agreed. Right? They pay every month. No issues. You don't have to reach out to them and say, hey, you missed a payment. All right, they're on it. So they pay their $1,032 every month for the full 15-year term, 180 months, right? And at the end of that loan, you're looking at just shy of $186,000, right? Now you invested $89,000. You wait 15 years, you collect monthly cash flow, right? And at the end of that 15 years, you're looking at $186,000, which works out to an annual return of 11.37%. Okay, so we're already starting off high. All right, we're already in double digits. We like double digits, right? If I can get a yes in the chat, if we like double digits, all right. Very good. And so outcome number two is early payoff. All right. Let's say you're collecting your monthly payments for 5 years. And after 5 years, your borrower says, I think we're ready to move on. We're ready to move on from this place. We're going to go ahead and sell the house. Does that mean that your investment is dead in the water? Absolutely not, right? So what does an early payoff look like? Well, 5 years of payments at just over $1,000 a month, all right, for 60 months is just shy of $62,000, right? So we're just shy of $62,000 in passive cash flow over the course of 5 years. But if you've ever paid any sort of loan back, you know that when you make a monthly payment, part of your payment goes to principal, part of your payment goes to interest, right? So even though we've already collected $62,000 on this note, the actual balance has only gone down by about $23,000. So you're still owed $85,000 on this note. That's how amortization works. That is the beauty of interest, right? If you're on the collecting side, that is the beauty of interest. But you're still owed $85,000 on this note. So you've collected 62, you're owed 85, and when you add your total up, you're looking at just shy of $147,000 collected, all right, after 5 years. And if you subtract your amount invested, your $89,000, from the total that you've collected, you're looking at a profit of about $58,000 in 60 months, right? 5 years, $58,000. We're looking at a return of 13.29% per year. All right, so we're trending in the right direction. We started at 11%. We're moving up to 13%. We're looking good, right? Very good, very good. And then the third one, the scary one, right? What if my borrower stops paying? What happens then? All right, did I make a bad investment? Not necessarily, right? Let's say that same 5 year period goes by, your borrowers pay for 5 years, but after 5 years they get a divorce and they can no longer afford to make the payments. All right, they can no longer afford the home, right? So you're forced to take action to recoup your investment and claim the property as collateral. Now let me pause here and say that note investors, we're not jerks, okay? We're not here to kick people out of their home for money. It's not what we're here to do. Okay, one of the beautiful things about being an individual note investor is that we are not big companies who only see our borrowers as numbers. So we do have other options to work out these loans before we take the foreclosure step, whether that's cash for keys. Hey, well, it would cost me $2,500 to foreclose on you. Why don't I pay you the $2,500 to sign the property over to me? All right, no foreclosure, no eviction. You can start fresh somewhere else. All right, there's something called deed in lieu where, hey, I know the person living in the property passed away and you don't feel like dealing with it. You can sign the property over. We'll take it off your hands. You're good to go. Okay, so there are other options other than foreclosure that we can work out with our borrowers. We're not here to just kick people out and take their homes. Okay, but at the end of the day, The collateral property does get claimed. Okay, and when you claim it, you can do a number of things with it. It's your property now, so you can sell, you can rent, donate, you can move in if you really like it that much. All right, but more often than not, we want to sell so that we can get our money back, we can get our money out, and go do another investment. All right. So let's say that the property sells for $142,000. Now keep in mind that it's been 5 years, so there's a pretty good chance that this property has appreciated well past $142,000 by the time it's time to sell it. Right? But this is the number that we started with, so that's what we're going to stick with. So we've collected our $62K from our 60 months of payments. All right, we collected $142,000 from our sale. We did have to go through the foreclosure process, so we had some legal fees. We paid a realtor to help us get the property sold efficiently. So we're going to subtract about $13K from our income, from our profit, right? And we're looking at a total collected of about $191,000. Okay. You take that $191,000, you subtract what you've invested again, right? And you're looking at a total profit of just about $102,000. So we're looking at a six-figure profit. All right. You'll see total profit says 72 months. We're going to assume that the foreclosure and sale took an extra year. But for a six-figure profit, I'm willing to wait a little bit. I'm assuming you all will be waiting to wait a little bit, willing to wait a little bit. But I could be wrong, you know. But at the end of the day, you can see here we're looking at a 15.84% return per year with this outcome. So if you're following me so far, when the borrower pays as agreed, we're looking at 11.37% return, right? When we got a gift and the loan was paid off early, we got a 13.29% return. And when the borrower failed to pay and we got inconvenienced and had to do a little extra work to work it out, we got a 15.84% return. So hear me when I say note investing makes it difficult for you to lose money on your investment. Okay? Let me know if you're following so far in the chat. You can say I'm following. Let me know what you think about it so far. If it sounds cool, let me know. If it sounds like, you know, trash, let me know. But go ahead and drop that in the chat for me, and then we're going to move on to the next part. Okay? So, I told you earlier that note investing is the best kept secret in real estate investing, but I only told you half the secret. Okay? The other half of the secret is that you can profit from note deals without doing any deals yourself. Okay? I'm sure some of you listening to this are like, that sounds cool, but it sounds like a lot. All right? I don't want to chase down deals. I don't have the time or the desire to learn how to do this. I don't want to go find people and find deals. Okay? And what I'm telling you now is that you don't have to. Okay? You can profit from note deals without doing any of your own deals. How does that work? Okay? As a note investor, I get opportunities sent to my inbox every day. And there are times when a great opportunity comes across, but I just put my capital into another deal, right? Or there are times when a great opportunity comes across, but the price point is a little larger than what I have available on hand, right? And so instead of just sitting back and going, dang, I really wish I could have got that one, maybe next time, you know, I wonder who I know who wants to make some passive income. Who do I know that might be interested in making a little extra money? All right. And so I reach out to my network and I say, hey, I have this great opportunity that I want to take advantage of, but it's going to require a little more capital than I have available at the moment. I wanted to reach out to you and ask if you'd be interested in this opportunity, if you'd be interested in partnering with me, right? You wouldn't have to do any work, right? All you would have to do is supply the capital for this deal. I'll close it, and I will pay you every month for helping me out. Does that sound good? And people say, yeah, that sounds good. I don't have to do anything. That sounds good. All right? So, these people are called private lenders. All right? Private lenders are people who have some money to invest. Again, they're interested in some hands-off passive income. They've got their own thing going on. All right? Maybe they want to invest their money for a limited time. Maybe they're trying to figure out what their next move is going to be, and they want to park their money somewhere and get a return until they figure that out. All right? Maybe they want to invest long-term. Who knows? We'll talk about that a little later. All right? But they want to profit from the expertise of others. All right? Again, I don't feel like learning. I don't have the time. I don't know. I don't want to learn how to do deals, but it sounds good and I want to take part, right? They want to profit from the expertise of others. And then finally, they're interested in secure investments with high returns, okay? You can be a private lender on anything, all right? If your brother calls you up and says, hey, man, I'm building a pool in my backyard and I need to borrow $20,000, will you loan that to me? All right, you can loan him the money, but if he doesn't pay you back, you can't take the pool out the ground and take it with you, right? So we want secured investments, all right? So where do these private lenders get their money from? Well, some of these people have money in a savings account. And if you have your money in a traditional savings account that you can walk into the bank and open, you are losing money every day, all right? Inflation hovers around 3%. Your average savings account is paying you less than 1%, a lot less than 1%, right? So you're losing money every day if your money is just sitting in a savings account, right? If you have a high yield account, you're probably making between 3 and 5%, which is good, but we can do better, right? Some people have their money in a retirement account, whether that's an employee match or, it's through their employer. Some people have self-directed retirement accounts, but maybe they want it to perform a little bit better, right? Maybe they're concerned about the security of their retirement money, right? If the stock market takes a hit, which most retirement funds are invested in the stock market, right? Mutual funds and such. If they take a hit and their retirement money goes down, there's no guarantee that they're going to have the time to build it back up to where it was. In the market crash that happened a couple months ago, I talked to a guy who lost $200K out of his account from that market crash, right? Now, there's no saying he's going to have 10, 20, however many years to get it back to where it was and past where it was, right? So people who may want a little bit more security in their retirement account, or maybe they have been doing well in the stock market, but they want to take a piece of that and put it somewhere more secure, right? I find private lenders that way as well. Maybe someone has a life insurance policy that they can borrow against. Maybe they have $1 million policy and they want to borrow $100,000 against it so they can make some passive income, get a return for themselves. And then real estate investors also make fantastic private lenders. Okay, again, we're talking about private, tired landlords, rather, right? People who are tired of dealing with tenants, they're tired of repairs, they're tired of property management. They say, I just want to make some passive income that I don't have to deal with these problems. All right. Again, maybe they're a wholesaler, maybe they're a flipper, and they work real hard to find a deal, then compete with all the other wholesalers and flippers out there, and then find a seller, and then find a buyer, and then bring them together, right? And then hopefully there's enough spread at the end of the deal for them to make some money, and then they got to go do it all over again, because every deal only pays once, right? And so I talk to these investors and I say, hey, what if you put half the money that you earned from closing your deal in your pocket, take the other half, invest it in a note deal, and then that one deal is paying you over and over and over again for years. And then what if you do that with your next wholesaler flip? And then what if you do that with your next 10 wholesalers and flips? And all of a sudden, when you want to take a break or you want to stop and say, I don't want to do this grind anymore, you've already built up passive monthly income from these deals that are going to make sure that you're taken care of, right? So private lenders can come from anywhere. All right, but at the end of the day, they're looking to make some hands-free passive income. I'm going to give you an example of a private lender before we get out of here. All right, we're going to apply it to our same example as before. So this here is Eddie. Okay, Eddie is an engineer. He works very hard. He makes good money. But Eddie wants to get involved in real estate investing, but he's way too busy with his job. Okay, he does not have the time to learn how to invest in real estate, but he wants to get involved, right? So Eddie and I, we built up a rapport. I call Eddie and I say, hey man, I have this great opportunity that I want to go ahead and move on. Would you be willing to loan me the money to close this deal? And Eddie says, yeah, I have some money in my self-directed retirement account that I'm willing to put up. How much do you need? I say, Eddie, if you'll loan me $89,000 to go ahead and close this deal, I will pay you 8% interest on your money. All right. Eddie says, that sounds great. What does that look like as far as what I'm getting back every month? I say, Eddie, if you loan me this money to close this deal, I'll pay you $850 a month. All right, right into your retirement account. $850 a month. Now remember, our deal pays $1,032 a month, right? So Eddie's getting the lion's share of that. Me as the investor, I'm keeping that last 180, right? When we're investing in note deals, sometimes people look at the amount collected and they say, oh, that's it. But hey, to some people that's a bill. Some people that's money to throw into their savings. right? So these things stack up. Remember, we're going after paper, not property, so we can move a lot faster, we can do a lot more deals, and these increments add up really quickly. All right. So that's a me thing. That's not an Eddie thing. Eddie's worried about his $850 a month. All right. Eddie says, cool. And I say, well, how long would you like to loan on this deal for? And Eddie says, well, I'm a fairly young guy. You know, I can't touch this money anyway. It's coming out of my retirement account. So why not just go for the long haul, right? Let's just keep it in for the full term of the deal. I said, great, Eddie. So he collects his $850 a month for 180 months for the next 15 years, right? And at the end of that term, Eddie's $89,000 turns into $153,000 back into his retirement account, right? And all the while, he's earned this passive income, right? It's contractually growing his retirement account, all right? He does not have to worry about what's going on in the world, right? That's going to make his retirement funds go backwards or go down. He knows that he's receiving 8% contractual growth on this $89,000 annually, right, for the next 15 years, right? He's not worried about market volatility, right? It doesn't matter what's going on in the stock market or the real estate market. He knows that his money is secure. And Eddie is also helping to provide a family with housing. How is he doing that? Okay. When a bank gives a loan, a mortgage loan, to a borrower, and that borrower pays that loan back, every payment they make is building equity in the property, okay? When you build equity, you're building wealth. You're building ownership, which translates to wealth, right? So Eddie helping keep this loan alive, helping move this loan forward, is helping provide this family housing for however long they choose to stay in it, all right? And in the event that they default on the loan, Eddie knows that his $89,000 is not at risk because it has valuable collateral tied to it to secure his money, right? So he's having a great time with this investment. You know, he's called me a few more times over the course of this 15 years to say, hey, you got any more of these deals? Can we do some more? Right? So that's how private lending works. That's kind of a basic example of what that would look like, right? But at the end of the day, my point with that is saying that I'm always on the hunt for good note deals. Again, they come to my inbox every day, all right? I'm always looking at deals. I'm always looking at tapes. And I'm just here to ask, can I call you when I find one? I would love to build wealth with some of you watching this call. Again, my ultimate goal here is to create freedom, not only for myself, but for others. And so I would love to invite you all to participate in that with me. Okay? But at the end of the day, again, you deserve more freedom. We all deserve more freedom. We all work a lot. We all have to do a lot of things that we don't necessarily choose to do. But we do have the ability to take control and create more freedom for ourselves. So it is time to take that action and start living our lives the way that we've always envisioned it. And that starts with creating passive income. And in my opinion, mortgage note investing is the best way to do that. Okay? So with that being said, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to my presentation. I hope it was valuable to you. If you have any questions or you want to schedule a call with me to talk more about this, you can visit my website, note-genius.com. You can send me an email, brian@note-genius.com. All right, I will actually put a link in the chat with my calendar link, so you can go ahead and schedule a call that way if you like. But thank you for your time. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Thank you for your responses in the chat. Please share this with anyone who you can think of who may be able to use it. I'll be doing this presentation every week because I want to spread this message as much as possible, right? I want to let as many people as possible know what's going on. The same time every week, Sunday at 4 p.m. Pacific. So please get the word out. Feel free to follow me on social media, subscribe to the YouTube channel for tips, for interviews, vlogs, clips. I want this to be a very authentic experience, and so I will share my deals with you as case studies when they go great, and I'll share them with you when they don't go so great. I want this to be very clear, and so you can see how valuable this investment vehicle is. So again, thank you. I'll go ahead and conclude there, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your evening and a successful week. Thanks.